Edition of UBC News tonight. Let's have a look at the top stories as we open.
Brought to you by
how to get points. Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Ministry of Education to check compliance with guidelines on fire outbreak prevention among schools. Government to relocate people in flood-prone areas as heavy rains approach March to May. Russia accused of using devastating vacuum bombs, while philanthropists stakes $100 Buwekula and Budu counties to tussle it out in Masazaga Buganda tournament.
Was brought to you by everywhere you go, MTN.
A warm welcome once again. It's me, Micheal, Jordan Lukomwa. Elizabeth Nakakoni will join us for our sign language interpretation, and there she is. Talk properly, look for people who can add value on what you're doing. Harmonize. President Yoweri Museveni tells officials from the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, the Uganda Tourism Board and tourism sector stakeholders who met him this afternoon at State House in Entebbe. The president, who was meeting the officials over several contentious issues, including government handling of the investment in marketing tourism, which markets to focus on marketing initiatives, the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo brand, and the Dubai Expo skilling and capacity building and conservation initiatives, agreed to a request by tour operators for him to visit one of the national parks as part of government efforts to promote tourism. The private tour operators also want inclusion on the board of the Uganda Airlines, Uganda Tourism Board and Uganda Investment Authority, Export Promotions Board and the Petroleum Authority, among others. The meeting was attended, among others, State Minister for Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, Martin Mugarra Bahinduka, the Permanent Secretary, Doreen Katusime, former Minister of Lands and Housing, who is now Chairman, Uganda Tourism Board, Daudi Migereko, Uganda Tourism Board CEO, Lilia Jerova, and the leadership of the Uganda Hotel Owners Association and that of the Association of Uganda Tour Operators. Tourism is Uganda's biggest export, contributing $1.6 billion to Uganda's GDP and accounts for over 660,000 jobs as of 2019. The sector was, however, seriously affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, with the airport closure and lockdown. CV Tumusime of Acacia Safaris, the board chair of the Association of Tour Operators, urged the president to intervene on communities living in the national parks, including fishermen, pastoralists and agriculturalists who are in constant conflict with wildlife.
Why do you leave the banana chintu behind? Why do you leave the actual stakeholders behind? And the officials are the ones who go.
And that is the representative of the ministry, Minister of
The Department of Education Standards in the Ministry of Education and Sports will inspect schools to check compliance with guidelines on fire outbreak prevention. State Minister for Primary Education, Dr. Joyce Moriku Kaduchu, says that the ministry will reissue circulars to schools on basic requirements and minimum standards to be followed. We have this in detail.
During the COVID-19 period, the country never experienced school fire outbreak. Schools have now been reopened for 7 weeks, and 10 fire outbreaks have so far been reported, with the recent one being a fire that gutted Bilal Secondary School in the wee hours of Monday morning. Ministry of Education and Sports attributes this to schools that are not licensed to operate as boarding.
So the education standard is going to embark on inspection. And this is going to be serious, really. We are going to ensure schools put in place these minimum standards and the requirement that can enable the children to be safe. And if they cannot, we rather close the school and the children go to the neighboring schools.
April 2008, Boda Junior Dormitory was set ablaze and 19 children lost their lives. In the month of January, February and March 2009, 7 schools that include Chibibi Secondary School Mpiji, Masaka Islamic School, Kakungulu Memorial, Maracha Secondary School in Arua, Kingsway on Entebbe Road, Parish Preparatory Mixed School in Chitintale, Chikonda Primary School in Kaboya and Hoima got burnt. In April 2016, a fire set ablaze a dormitory, leading to the postponement of end of second term exams. Same year, Weldon College Mbarara was burnt. April 2017, a boys' dormitory at Madamanjeri Primary School, Chirinyaboyogerere, caught fire, destroying property worth millions of shillings. In 2018, Bahesi Hostel, housing in Makerere Business School, and Mary Stuart Makerere University caught fire. And 2019, Wairaka College, Rugarama Nursing School and Midwifery also experienced a fire outbreak. According to police, most of these reports were caused by arson, and yet no individual has been proved guilty for such an offense. The matron, 4 watchmen, and former head teacher for Boda Junior School are still on trial for criminal negligence. Some fire outbreaks are also suspected to be acts of indiscipline by students in an expression of anger to school administrators.
Every school should provide counseling sessions to students and staffs. Some of the students may be mentally disturbed. Some of them may be, some of them might have domestic problem. Others may be having chronic infections like HIV and AIDS. Others may have mental disease, stress that needs regular counseling. Others may be on drugs.
With the resurgency of fires being in the period of COVID-19, Minister Kaduchu says the heads of the schools should observe the COVID-19 guidelines and minimum standard for fire outbreaks issued in 2008, putting in place firefighting measures.
Equipments.
Yes.
It may be expensive, but this is a critical issue. If they don't put in place firefighting measures that can detect the flame, can detect the heat, or there should be some communication method such that when there is a danger, either you blow a whistle, you ring a bell, or you do something. Put it very clear that schools should have control access to the premises. Every school should be in position to have a secure and non-porous perimeter fence. A perimeter fence that cannot allow somebody to jump over.
Primary schools have been advised to have in place a management committee and secondary board of governors to enforce the requirements.
We are going to send this circular once again to all the schools. The circular will be sent to all the parents and all the people of Uganda. And we are also requesting our parents, please help us to identify some of these gaps.
The fire outbreaks are rarely in day school but boarding, and the Ministry of Education technical team is to soon issue a statement on the way forward. I'm Navka Farida in Kampala.
Internal Affairs State Minister General David Muhoozi has briefed Parliament on the shooting incident of a traffic police officer PC Mukebezi Robert by a UPDF soldier Corporal Babangida Bashir Mango. General Muhoozi said that efforts are underway to apprehend and bring the fugitive culprit to book, and also making sure that the victim gets some form of compensation.
A statement by Internal Affairs State Minister General David Mhoz on the shooting of a traffic police officer PC Robert Mukebezi has kindled a debate on the conduct of security officers, with MPs calling for action against the culpable and also questioning security agencies. PC Mukebezi was shot at by a 1CPL Bashir Mango Babangida of the Uganda People's Defence Force and sustained severe injuries that led to the amputation of his leg.
UPDF officers don't respect the traffic rules. They intimidate the traffic officers who are on duty, and they abuse them. Is it something that you cannot control as a ministry? That is a question that you should answer then.
So I can't put a time tag on that one, but the compensation aspect is being worked on between us and the Minister of Defence and UPDF, and we shall report back to the House.
In his statement, General Mhoz reported the incident and management of PC Mukebezi thereafter. MPs, however, were quick to condemn the behavior of some members of the security forces, who they say are creating a pattern of indiscipline, impunity and violence.
The aggrieved one, the person who should have given this report, should have been a Minister of Defence.
Don't carry a cross which is not yours. Let people who are responsible for these things come here and explain. And then we would also like to know who actually approves the list of soldiers who go to these masses.
If you have the people that are being tortured with you, who is torturing them? You cannot come and lie to Parliament. You have the list of people who are being tortured and the centers they are in, and you don't know people who are torturing them. This is who is lying who here. Minister of Security, the Honorable Jim Muezi, you have been in this country for a very long time. You have been in and out of government. When you are in out of government, you know how bad it is, how painful it is to be out of government. At least you have been in and out of government. When you are in Luzera prison, when you are detained in Luzera prison, you know how painful it is to be in prison without trial. I remember you cried and said it was persecution.
Deputy Speaker Anita Among directed Security Minister to present a list detailing all reported cases of impunity and violence and the actions that the security establishment has taken against the adversely named individuals.
They are from different security forces. These are individual criminal acts which government condemns, and anyone found culpable,
Honorable Minister,
they are punished.
Honorable Minister,
yes.
They are individual acts. Do you have a number or the list of people who have been killed on a daily basis?
Yes, we have all
do you have the people who committed the act?
Many of them do not come here, but they are arrested and punished.
I am asking you, do you have the list of those who committed the act?
Yes, we can produce the list.
What action have you taken on those persons?
We take them according to the law. They are punished. Some people have been shot. Yeah, firing squad. When
Procedure. Honorable Minister.
Procedure.
Can I have a list?
Shamim Naiga, Gloria Gutsabinji, UBC News.
The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, has questioned the role of Parliament in the implementation of the Parish Development Model. Last week, President Museveni launched the Parish Development Model, a flagship project aimed at boosting the drive to money economy through improving household incomes. Deputy Speaker Anita Among has asked government to address to Parliament the key guidelines and policies spelling out how the 490 billion shillings project will take effect.
On Tuesday last week, President Yoweri Museveni launched the Parish Development Model to increase household income. He also assured the public that the guidelines to implement the inevitable program are in place. He also appealed to respective leaders to cooperate with government in the implementation of the program.
We can conserve elephants in the national park. Conserve the swamps, but not conserve poverty.
Despite President Museveni's assurance on the guidelines, Parliament wants to be involved.
Government, this is a non-partisan matter. 2, we need the members of Parliament to do their oversight role in their constituencies. We need full involvement of the members of parliament.
And in the consultations that we've been having, I remember we agreed that the role of members of parliament should be well pronounced before we roll out the parish model. And we want to avoid a similar scenario that was with the parish model, with the Myoga.
The Minister of State for Finance and General Duties, Henry Musasizi, failed to convince the legislators.
I am just wondering where this idea of post bank comes in, because as far as we are concerned, we will be sending money to the accounts and there is no intermediary in between.
But the Honourable Minister, my fellow Catholic, you are saying money will go directly. Can you give us the accounts you have opened for those parishes?
No.
You come to my parish, you will face me.
What the Catholic is saying is very true. The other day I saw a meeting, people were having a meeting in my district as coordinators. Why can't I be a coordinator when I'm a woman member of parliament? How do you bring people who even don't speak my language to be coordinators of a parish model in a certain area?
The legislators say some parishes have already benefited from the funds without their notice as the approving authority. The Deputy Speaker, Anita Among, has provided space on Thursday this week for government to brief the August House on the finalized key policies and procedures to implement the parish development model.
We are going to communicate to the Minister of Local Government, prepare a statement to members of Parliament, and including the role the members of Parliament will play in oversight role, in monitoring and supervision.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gwitabinji, UBC News.
The Democratic Party has urged government to support Ugandans offering indigenous treatment to save money spent on seeking treatment abroad. DP President Norbert Mao wants government to promote researchers in the medical industry in Uganda, including herbal medics. Addressing a weekly press conference in Kampala, Mao identified David Semfuka, a renowned researcher in diabetes and cancer-related treatment.
So, the Uganda government has to support innovative people like David Semfuka who are using traditional medicine. Traditional medicine works. Unfortunately, the African Union and our African governments are not vigilant in defending what is ours. Of course, they confuse our African medicine with witchcraft. The two are totally different. The witch doctors operate in the spiritual realm. Our traditional medical people, they use their knowledge of herbs. Now that is science. Science was not introduced by the colonialists. We had science. So today, we have come to make an appeal to the Uganda government to invest more in indigenous knowledge as the Democratic Party. The government should support David Semfuka and people like him. We are spending a lot of money abroad. Of late, people are making a lot of noise about people who are getting treatment abroad for a number of ailments. Some of these ailments can be treated from here. I can tell you the best skin cream is made out of shea butter. Now they get the shea butter, they go and sell it in their expensive shops like Boots. You hear Clinique, the fashion house, they adopt shea butter, while the rural woman in Pade, who actually processes the shea butter, cannot even afford school fees.
DP President Norbert Mao. The Ethiopian delegation, Media Council and top officials from the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance have called for patriotism among the journalism fraternity. While hosting the 5-member team, Joyce Sebugwao, the State Minister for ICT, reiterated the role of the media in transforming society.
The Ethiopian Media Council had deliberations on the state of the media and country regulations with officials from the Ministry of Information, Communication, Technology and National Guidance. Ethiopia's Media Council has been in existence for 4 years, whereas Uganda's Media Council has been around for more than 2 decades. And hence experience sharing comes in handy in strengthening the institution and ensuring it achieves its mandate.
For example, I can give you some list, like 4 years back, we had only 2 radio stations in Ethiopia, television stations in Ethiopia. But with the new procedure and the government adoption of the new free press in the Ethiopian situation now, it is so surprising that from 2 television stations, we have gone up to 37 television stations in Ethiopia.
So this experience sharing is going to be good to see how far they can reach out, where they will need help. I'm aware that in Ethiopia there is a mass media authority, right, which should actually marry itself together with the Media Council to create what we have in Uganda, in my view, to be able to properly regulate what is happening there.
The Media Council's visit to Uganda comes at a time when Ethiopia continues to challenge what they term as agenda setting, fake news and misinformation by the foreign media, especially on issues pertaining to the rebel insurgents in the north.
Africa needs a continental media house, as also addressed from African Union and leaders capitalize that. But at the same time, what I learned from the last 3 or 2 years from the Ethiopian perspective, also the media, the journalists, the editors, and also we need to capacitate them.
To change the narrative and give Africa its fair share of positive news and information, a call for patriotism and thorough training of African journalists was emphasized.
They are spoiling our countries for nothing, because here there's a different picture, but when you go out you get something else. And those who are coming here always are surprised to see what is happening here. Because when they go there, they think you cannot even go there to Uganda. Uganda is terrible, hostile.
You set the agenda, you inform, you educate, you shape perceptions media. So, and it goes back to what we were saying. We want to see a media that builds Africa, a media that builds Ethiopia, a media that builds Uganda.
The members of the Ethiopian Media Council also paid a courtesy call to Uganda Broadcasting Corporation headquarters for a fact-finding mission on the operations of the public broadcaster. Dennis Igoa and Miriam Nyomujisha for UBC News.
It is 2 years since the enthronement of Dr. Samuel Stephen Kazimba Mugalu as the 9th Archbishop of the province of the Church of Uganda. He has held a Thanksgiving ceremony where he recounted milestones in mobilizing resources towards partial clearance of the church house debt.
Dr. Stephen Samuel Kazimba Mugalu was enthroned on 1st March 2020.
I am grateful amidst this time of the pandemic, we have been able to preach the gospel.
The Archbishop appreciated the reduction on the 60 billion shilling debt of the church house project.
Able to pay, and now we are remaining close to 16 billions. But it has been 15, but now the interest keeps on growing. If we get some people to clear the debt today, we would pay 15 billions and we are on 0. That's an achievement.
Dr. Kazimba calls on different dioceses countrywide to ensure the remaining debt is cleared.
That money is not just a gift. It is turned into shares. And shares will be creating and bringing dividends back to each diocese, depending on what you have brought in. And that one will be used by every diocese as they wish, but it's mainly on schools in that area. and clinics or healthcare centers in that area.
This was at a Thanksgiving ceremony of his second anniversary as the pastoral head of the Provincial Church of Uganda. Relatedly, a plan to construct staff houses at the Archbishop's palace has started. Dorcas Kimono, UBC News.
The International Crimes Division Court has resumed hearing of a case in which former combatant in the Lord's Resistance Army LRA Thomas Koyelo Latoni is facing 93 offences. The offences include murder, crime against humanity, pillaging, rape, enslavement, torture, cruel treatment, kidnap with intent to murder, and aggravated robbery. The witness before court testified in camera. The case was presided over by a panel of 3 judges, Justice Michael Elubu, Justice Duncan Gaswaga, and Justice Stephen Mubiru. Prosecution is led by George William Biansi, Deputy DPP, and Lillian Omara, Chief State Attorney. However, court rejected the plea by the accused, Thomas Koyelo, to be tried by the International Criminal Court in Hague. In court, the accused, Thomas Koyelo, was represented by Dalton Oponyo. Court will resume on the 2nd of March 2022. Meanwhile, the General Court Martial has had the bail application of the former Police Special Operations Unit, Nixon Agasire. Agasire, who has spent over 5 years in prison without the hearing of the case against him. Nixon Agasire is facing charges of failure to protect war materials, among others.
The former Police Special Operations Unit Commander Nixon Agasire has appeared before the General Court Martial Machindye after spending over 5 years in jail without trial. Before Chairman Lieutenant General Andrew Guti, Nixon Agasire once again asked court to be released on bail.
Has a fixed place of abode, which is at Chienda LC1, Chira Parish, Chira Division, Chira Municipality in Wakiso District. My Lord, our first surety is Honorable Joram Tubasimwa, who is a Member of Parliament for Elderly, Western Uganda.
Nixon informed the court of his health status and the long time he has spent on remand.
Our client is sick, he's suffering from hepatitis B, he has high blood pressure. He needs to reunite with his family. For sure, 5 years are too many.
According to prosecution, in 2013, the former Police Special Operations Unit Commander Nixon Agasire arrested Lieutenant Joel Mutabazi, former presidential guard, who had escaped from Rwanda citing persecution, and handed him over to the Rwanda authorities. Nixon Agasire is facing alleged offences with former Commander of Police Joel Aguma, Habati Muhanji, Kanondo Huratoch, Richard Ndowoyine, and Patrick Mulemera, who are released on bail. Meanwhile, the General Court Martial set 29th March 2022 to start the hearing of the case and the hearing of the bail application of the 32 National Unity Platform supporters.
If the state is ready by then, by being ready, it means that they must have availed to us all the evidential materials they're going to rely on prior to that day.
Hearing of the case stalled due to the absence of 3 accused persons in court.
This morning, a prison officer came to court and also told us that one of those people who was allegedly terribly sick is also still indisposed. And we asked the General Court Martial that we cannot rely on just these averments by a prison officer. We need some bit of medical evidence. We need to access these so-called sick people. We've always informed you, we know that these guys are not serious with the trial. They have not yet presented us with any evidence that they are going to intend on.
Prosecution in this matter was represented by Lieutenant Colonel Raphael Mogisha. In another development, the same court has set 28th March 2022 to start the hearing of the case, where 15 suspects are accused of robbing and murdering police officers in different parts of the country. Prosecution informed court that inquiries and the charges against the accused are complete,
save for some of the few suspects who have not been arrested. We shall proceed in case they are not arrested with those who are already here.
Prosecution alleges that the 15 accused persons and others still at large on 7th December 2021 in the districts of Wakiso, Kasanda, Mityana, Chiboga, murdered police officers. Among the accused is Lugendo Stewart, Mulindwa Julius, Nyanzi Muhammad, and Kizito Issa. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
The shortage of medical equipment in South Sudan has attracted a delegation from the same country to interact with officials from the East African Medical Vitals to increase supplies. The Deputy Director General, Juba Teaching Hospital, Dr. Gibson Nafana, says that partnership with East African Medical Vitals will ensure that supplies are enough.
A delegation from South Sudan has paid a courtesy visit to East African Medical Vitals following a shortage of medical supplies in their country. The chairperson, East African Medical Vitals, Ben Kavia, says the company is ready given the quality laboratory existence.
This is a breakthrough. The moment we have consumers from other sister states, that means even other sister states will follow suit.
Uganda's Commissioner of Health Services, Okuna Neville Oteba, says East African Medical Vitals solved the problem of scarcity.
So I'm very happy. That shows that the ministry is committed and is willing to support the company to go to greater lengths. If you keep the quality, then you have the market.
The Ministry of Health will bring in trainees for skills training.
Diplomatic ties with Uganda. Actually, Uganda is our second home. We have our kids here, our families. We have a number of refugees in the refugee camps, and equally we have a number of Ugandans in South Sudan. So partnering with the East African Medical Vitals is not going to be new. It is not news to all of us. It is something that we can pursue, and I believe the Ministry of Health South Sudan will join hand and look into partnering with East African Medical Vitals.
The supply chain technical advisor says scarcity of medical supplies was caused by COVID-19.
Logistically, we used to order things from far as China and other countries. So by coming here to see what you have done, I think this is quite encouraging, and it will be able to help us in planning of how to be able to outsource this important
Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Development partners have extended their program for the intrinsic motivation of teachers to more than 46 districts from the 32 across the country, while opening the Star Education and MasterCard end of the project conference at Serena Hotel in Kampala. The State Minister for Primary Education, Joyce Kaduchu, said this has helped the ministry to create and retain highly professional teachers.
Ministry of Education and Sports, in partnership with Star Education and the MasterCard Foundation, has been implementing the Build a Teacher Changemaker movement to address the learning crisis in secondary schools in Uganda. This crisis is a situation where there are teachers who have been brought into school by circumstances and learners who are brought to school not interested in learning. The initiators of this program think money, salary, the bonus are incentives, but teachers require intrinsic motivation.
Teachers love what they are doing intrinsically. Before you start going to the classroom, do you love what you're doing as a person? And then two, do you know the purpose of education? So are you teaching because it is a job? Are you teaching because you are paid? Or are you train teachers about how to know misconceptions in the teaching and learning process? We teach the teachers about issues like social-emotional well-being of the teachers, because if the teacher is not well in terms of their mental abilities, then they cannot pass on wellness to them.
As the 7-year program comes to an end, the teachers seem to have benefited.
Such programs need to be sustained so that the teachers can keep on improving, because new innovation is coming, new intervention is coming.
At the end of the day, that child becomes a lawyer, becomes a professor, that child becomes a minister, that child becomes an MP.
State Minister for Primary Education, Mary Kaduku, says the program ensures continuous teacher development.
It has contributed towards development in the quality of teaching, as we've had. The learning, as more teachers have been able to adapt to the classroom practices by incorporating evidence-based teaching practices.
Ministry of Education also appreciates development partners for focusing on attitudes and behaviors of teachers in this program. I'm Namfuka Farida in Kampala.
Thank you so much, Namfuka Farida. Let's take a short break. Do not go anywhere. We have more for you on return.
In March 2018, Total Energies launched the Welders Training and Certification Program aimed at improving the employability of Ugandans from the Albertine region and East African crude oil pipeline areas.
GIZ E4D project is working with Total Energies, where we are targeting to train at the end of it 350 welders, and we're expected to train more.
I see myself working maybe in the oil and gas industry, being an international certified welder, because I have acquired the skills. I'm a lady, but doing something which is generally perceived to be for men. It makes you actually feel special. It makes you feel wow.
I am ready to support the oil and gas sector by being a quality welder. I thank you, Total, and I thank the government of Uganda.
Total Energies EP Uganda is committed to the empowerment of Ugandans to take an active part in the overall development of the oil project in Uganda.
MBs are now bigger MBs only on MTN. When you load a daily bundle of 250 shillings, you no longer get 15 MBs, you get 30 MBs. For 500 shillings, you no longer get 40 MBs, you get 80 MBs. For 1,000 shillings, it's no longer 100 MBs, it's 180 MBs. Dial *150*10# or use the My MTN app to load bigger daily bundles only on MTN.
MTN is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
National Medical Stores is a government agency mandated to buy, store and distribute medicines and medical supplies to government health facilities in Uganda. For Ugandans that we serve, help us serve you better by taking your individual responsibilities seriously. Report theft of government medicines and medical supplies to the nearest police station or to the State House Health Monitoring Unit. Do not pay for any medicines or medical supplies labeled Government of Uganda, not for sale. Do all that is within your means to stop all preventable diseases, including COVID-19. Continue observing the Ministry of Health Standard Operating Procedures, SOPs, including wearing a face mask whenever you are in public spaces. Visit a designated health facility to receive your COVID-19 vaccination and a booster dose for those that are eligible. Prevention is better than cure. National Medical Stores, passionate about your life.
Start the year off with my Airtel 4G smartphone. You get to enjoy free 1 GB data valid for a month and 100% bonus data every month for 3 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings. This includes free data spread over 3 months worth 86,500 Uganda shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 Uganda shillings only. Visit the nearest Airtel shop and get one today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Are you a consumer? Do you purchase movable second-hand items such as motor vehicles, household items, and many others? Don't be cheated. Carry out a search on the Simple Registry and verify whether the property you're buying has been used to secure a loan. Simple is the security interest in movable property registry system. It is an online registry hosted by URSB for registration of security interests on movable property. For more information, call us on our toll-free number 0800-100006 or log on to simple.ursb.go.ug. Simple. safer lending, easier borrowing.
This message was brought to you by Uganda Registration Services Bureau.
Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay. Dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees. Select option 2, school pay. Select option 1, pay fees. Enter student number. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Beat the back-to-school hustle today. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Raising voices.
Like other fathers across Uganda, I'm standing up to say no to violence against children. I commit to give my children a violence-free childhood. As fathers, we can make Uganda safer for our children. I promise to speak out when I see violence.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
Thank you so much for watching, and we now welcome you to our business news tonight. The earlier anticipated registration announced by the Kampala Affairs State Minister Kabuyecho Fatogabye for all Boda operators scheduled to kick off 1st March 2022 has been delayed. The minister says registration was among the avenues government is taking to wipe up criminality in the sector and recognize the industry formally.
Early last month, the State Minister for Kampala, Kabuyecho Fatogabye, alerted all Boda operators that 1st March 2022, the Boda registration exercise will commence.
No Boda will be permitted to operate or to step, just even mere stepping, on the roads of Kampala and the greater Kampala area, which I control.
This has been delayed.
They have not yet informed us why the exercise has not started, but we are very ready because we have our own data.
Based on the law passed by Parliament in 2010 and amended in 2020, we are making an ordinance to manage the operations of the Boda industry in Kampala.
Road Councillor John Mary Sebufu says all developments should be under the law, or else omissions will affect the results.
What instrument? And what instrument? What is supposed to be done? The RC is supposed to write to the Lord Mayor to ask him to speed up the process of an ordinance. Because an ordinance has everything that is needed to be in to have Boda operate in Kampala. So when it is not there, the rest we are just gambling.
Efforts to get comment from KCCA and Ministry for Kampala Affairs were futile, though close sources reveal of a whole-day engagement between the Minister for Kampala, Transport and City Commission.
It doesn't have enough jobs. The employment opportunities in Kampala, even the country generally, the whole country.
Robert Onyango, UBC News.
As the Afro-Arab Youth Council General Secretary has condemned heinous acts committed against Ugandans working in Arab countries, Abbas Agaba told the media in Kampala that as the council prepares to commemorate 18 years, they will engage the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development plus other relevant authorities over the problem.
At least an estimated 83,328 Ugandans working in the Arab world have contributed to the national coffers, but their terms of service and mode of engagement is not good. They are mistreated and some have died or lost their body organs. In Uganda, the Afro-Arab Youth Council Secretary General Abbas Agaba has condemned the mistreatment of Ugandan migrant workers in Arab countries.
Our young people live in Uganda to go and work in Arab countries, and some of them have had problems there. They have been mistreated, even other heinous acts that have been committed on them. We condemn in the strongest terms possible some of those incidences where our young people, young girls who have gone to those Arab countries to do the works they are doing there have been mistreated, they have been dehumanized. It's terrible. It's really unfortunate, And as a council, we condemn such acts.
He was addressing the media in Kampala as the council prepares to commemorate 18 years of existence. Most victims are house workers who are not well trained before being deployed.
But I'll mention two things. One, currently our girls are going to Saudi Arabia mainly. Some few to Oman, and they're the ones doing the housewife or house girl jobs. But there are others who are going and getting better jobs, working on construction sites, working in supermarkets, and others have not had as many problems as those ones working in homes.
The council has urged the government to have minimal training basic for Arabic before workers can be deployed in these countries.
They come here, they are in Kampala for a few days, they are taken to go and work. All they teach them is how do you use a fridge, how do you lay the boss's bed, how do you use a cooker, and quickly they go, thinking they will learn from the job. That engagement is brief. It's very important for these girls to learn what we call communication Arabic. Communication Arabic, it's basic, it's not deep detail, but it's basic. Some of the problems may arise because of lack of communication. Your boss says, I want the shirt ironed, you think he wants it to be washed, and then there's a problem because of the language problem.
Sada Mubale, UBC News, Kampala.
Thank you so much for watching. On the international scene, Russian forces have been accused of using the widely banned and dangerous weapons known as vacuum bombs that obliterate their victims. Accused Russia of using vacuum bombs or thermobaric weapons to attack a preschool in northeastern Ukraine while civilians took shelter inside. That's one of its teams had spotted a Russian thermobaric multiple rocket launcher near the Ukrainian border.
And they are shooting us with missiles, ballistic missiles. They use the vacuum bomb today, which is actually prohibited by Geneva Convention. So, you know, the devastation that Russia is trying to inflict on Ukraine is large, but we Ukrainians will resist. We are defending our home. We do not have any other option. We will not get tired. We will not stop. We will not surrender. We will continue defending our home. And it's not only our very motivated and capable military, not only our armed forces, but everyone. I think the Russian troops that Putin sent to kill us already see that they are not liberators. They are making crimes. You know, the people who surrendered and people who we have as prisoners of war in captivity now, and actually we treat them much better than Russians treat us. You know, we feed them and we take care of them, and all of them essentially say that they didn't even think that they would be sent to Ukraine to actually kill civilians. They are shocked themselves. So we need more weapons. I mean, we are not asking anyone to fight for us. We are defending our country ourselves. But we need all the support that all civilized world can give us to actually continue effectively fighting it. And also sanctions. We believe Russia, which is now acting like Nazi Germany during the World War II, essentially killing innocent civilians. Today they shot into again into not only residential areas but also the orphanages and schools and kindergartens. It's horrible. They have to pay the price. They have to be isolated. They have to understand that it's not okay in the 21st century to start war and kill people in the neighboring sovereign country.
With just 4 days to the 2022 Masazaga Uganda Football Tournament final, excitement and buzz is already on as the public waits Buwekula and Wududu battle. The final, expected to be graced by the Kabaka of Buganda, Ronald Mwenda Mutebi II, will be preceded by the losers' game between Mawokota and Bulemezi.
One of Uganda's most renowned sports philanthropist, Suleiman Kiwanuka, has led the way in enlivening this Saturday's Masazaga Buganda football final. Kiwanuka, who hails from Nakifuma in Mukono district, has come in handy to spice up the final at the St. Mary Stadium, Kitende.
First of all, I would like to thank the Kingdom of Uganda playing a major role in sports development, especially in football, that I understand better. First of all, today I came to be handed over the tickets that I bought for my people in Achifuma. I bought 100 tickets for my people, and I'm also pledging $100 for each goal that is going to be scored in the finals.
Sale of matchday tickets has started for this belated 2021 Masazaga Buganda football final between Buwekula and Buddu that is expected to be graced by Kabaka Ronald Muwenda Mutebi II.
I've assured the entire country that as far as security is concerned, we have done our real best. And I want on behalf of the Kingdom to ensure all our funds that security is well set. We are prepared to protect you and all your variables, but always emphasize that security starts with you. Make sure you don't move with so many things. Make sure you come sober and ready just to enjoy the match. Besides the security component, the tickets are out on sale. We have got tickets worth 20,000 shillings. They are going to look in this color. You are going to have this wristband. Whoever will access the stadium is going to have this. And then 50,000 shillings is going to be white in color and of this nature.
Buddu looks for its second title, while Buwekula in its second final targets a Pioneer Championship. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
Uganda Olympic Committee General Secretary Beatrice Aikoru has appreciated the role played by the Fortbet Rail Stars Sports Monthly Awards. This was during the awarding for the best athletes for the month of February at Route 256 in Lugogo.
The role of awarding the best sports personalities with medals and plaques, but importantly cash, has been underlined by Uganda Olympic Committee General Secretary Beatrice Aikoru. She was at the February 40-bet Rail Stars Sports Monthly Award at Route 256 in Lugogo.
The awards in every sport, awards are motivational factors. They motivate athletes to work hard. They motivate athletes to set targets. They motivate athletes to see whether they're improving or not.
The February 40-bet Rail Star Sports Monthly Award recognized 4 sports personalities from badminton, rugby, football, and athletics.
4 disciplines, and that is rugby, we had badminton, athletics, and of course football. You saw everybody who came to pick up his accolade was so happy. This lady Fadila just got her from the boat after finishing this quarter-final game, but again she had to come because she wanted it. So you see, the athletes need the thing, it motivates them to go for it. I think as she's going for the quarters, she will also excel just because of the thing. We expect to have now a better thing come for March. You've seen today the arrangement, everything was superb as we promised. By the time we end this year, I think everything will have improved so.
In football, Vipers Sports Club forward Yunus Sentamu was best. Youngster Fadila Shamika bettered all badminton players, and Innocent Gwokto was impressive in rugby. Uganda's world champion Halima Nakai for exploits in France that saw her register a new national record in the 800 meters was prima from athletics. John Barnes, Sentamu, reporting.
With sports news, John Barnes Sentamu bring us to the end of UBC News tonight. We thank you so much for having been part of the bulletin. Let's close with a relook at top stories.
Brought to you by
How to get points. Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Ministry of Education is to check compliance with guidelines on fire outbreak prevention among schools. Government to relocate people in flood-prone areas as heavy rains approach March to May. Russia is accused of using devastating vacuum bombs against Ukraine, while philanthropists take $100 to the Wekulabudu tie in the Masazaga Buganda tournament.
Was brought to you by Everywhere You Go, MTN.
Once again, we thank you so much for watching. That is all we had for you tonight. My name is Micheal Lukomwa with Elizabeth Nakakoni and the whole UBC TV newsroom team. Wish you the best of the night. Bye-bye. We'll leave you with the weather focus report with Daphne Near.
I'm Daphne Kawasita Samba from Uganda National Meteorological Authority. Most parts of the country today had sunny intervals, though some areas had cloudy conditions, with other areas having thunder rains. And these rains that we are receiving these days are really destructive, so really be careful for those thunder rains. According to a report that received today, Kasese reported the highest amount of rainfall of 4.4 millimeters. Chetugum we had 1.6 millimeters, and then Jinja we had 1.2 millimeters. Checking on the satellite image over Africa, we see that there are moist winds are coming in from the northern part of Indian Ocean towards our country, causing to the rains that we're having, especially in the northern part of Uganda, and also the local effect to the surrounding areas around Lake Victoria, western part of the country. That's why we're having those rains in those areas. For tomorrow, we're expecting to start the day with sunny intervals in most parts of the country, apart from Lake Victoria, where we're expecting isolated thunder rains. Later in the afternoon, we're expecting isolated thunder rains in the western sector of the country. Around Lake Victoria, we're expecting isolated rains, and then in the northern part of the country, we're expecting sunny intervals. Temperatures expected to rise to 32 degrees Celsius, that is the northern part of the country. Around Lake Victoria, we're expecting 30 degrees. In our capital city, we're expecting temperatures to rise to 28 degrees Celsius, and then in Kabale, we're expecting temperatures to rise to 24 degrees Celsius. Western part of Uganda, like in Kasese, we're expecting temperatures to rise to 31 degrees Celsius. Going beyond Uganda, Cairo, Paris, and New York, we're expecting sunny intervals. Sunny conditions expected in Dubai, with temperatures rising to 26 degrees Celsius, and then in London we're expecting showers with temperatures rising to 9 degrees Celsius, so it's a bit cold in London. That's what we had in our store. For more information, don't hesitate to dial *255*85# for more information about weather. Have a good evening.
Water and environment resources are the key components to our survival. That is why we need to protect our wetlands, rivers, lakes, soil, and trees. Join the Uganda Water and Environment Week for a 450-kilometer walk from Luzira, Kampala to Lira City as we work for water, environment, and climate change. Flag off will be at the Ministry of Water and Environment headquarters on 3rd March 2022 through the Eastern Road, and will end at Lira City Mayor's Gardens on 18th March 2022. The walk is part of the activities of Uganda Water and Environment Week 2022. It is organized by Ministry of Water and Environment through the Water Resources Institute and Workers Association of Uganda with support from development partners.
$40,000 Ugandans today have kidney failure, and only 1 out of 1,000 ever get to know that they have kidney failure. How many people have died of kidney failure? Imagine people out there collect